everyone, I'm Lauren Ligeti. Welcome to my meditations. I recently just fell in love with meditation. I used to think it was a little weird, a little woo-woo. And then I read Eat, Pray, Love, which totally sold me on yoga and meditation. And then I bought a book on meditation and I love it. And I just think it's all about really diving into yourself and understanding your mind, because once you understand it, which is that's hard to do, but once you do, then it gets a little easier to overcome certain battles, and that's this journey I'm on. I just want to document this whole process because I know there's got to be someone else out there who is either battling what I'm battling, or maybe something on a smaller scale or larger scale. But you know what? I figured, why not? Let's be vulnerable. Let's show each other these processes so we can help each other through them. So, I am a very, very, very beginner at meditation. So if if you know a lot about it, you might be laughing about what's about to happen, but I just ask that you stick with me and that you're patient, and let's just enjoy the ride. I think it'll be fun, and I'm not really doing this from a place of knowledge. I'm doing it from a place of just following where my mind is going to take me. So it might get scary. No, totally kidding. It's I just want to relax. I think we all could use a little rest and relaxation just every day, a little bit out of every day, whether it's 5, 10 minutes, an hour, whatever you're able to give, whatever you think your body needs. I say we do it together. So there's really no structure. I'm just gonna go off of what I need and what I think maybe some other people might need. So why don't you find something comfy and let's get started. Okay, so I just sit in this spot. I find a place in my house that I feel good and calm, and you might be hearing my 2-year-old snoring in the background. But I figured it would add a little relaxation maybe. But anyway, I hope you just feel comfortable. That is my main goal in meditation, is to be comfortable with where I'm at, what I'm wearing, wherever I am, how I'm sitting. While I do try to straighten my posture, and I do what you do in yoga, you try and get your head over your heart and your heart over your pelvis. Find that straight line in your body. But if you're at a desk or you just want to lay down, just find whatever's good for you, whatever your body needs. So everything is pretty loose. If I give you some instructions, you don't have to do them. Just find what works for you. So this meditation is all about finding peace in your mind and in yourself when it's just not in your circumstances. Whether you're arguing with someone or whether it's just really loud. Maybe you have toddlers like me and it is hard to escape, and sometimes escape is impossible. Sometimes you have to stick around, and what do you do when your circumstances aren't peaceful? So what I do is I have made a vision for myself, and visions tend to help me because I'm a visual learner, I believe. I think those things really help me. So I'm going to ask you close your eyes, but if you can't, if you're driving or cooking or whatever, go ahead and do whatever you can. I'm going to close mine. So I'm going to share with you what helped me this past weekend. I was trying to cook, and I had kids running around. So if you could just imagine a very noisy atmosphere with lots of different kinds of noises happening. And I don't know about you, but when I hear a lot of different noises, I tend to get sensory overload and I just tend to shut down. And I I get short-tempered and a little bit frustrated and impatient. So I've been working on trying to find peace during those times. And so in this time of craziness and noise that I can't escape, I decided to take 30 seconds. And in this 30 seconds, I might explain it a little bit longer than that just to help you out. And I think we can all get to a point where it can happen in 30 seconds in our own minds, but for the sake of explanation, I'll go a little longer. So let's close our eyes and take a deep breath in. And I know that sounds cliche, but oh, man, it feels good. Just expand those lungs. Deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth, and do that 3 times, and each time do it deeper and longer. And just take this time to focus on yourself. I think half the battle is just sitting down and taking this time for ourselves. Sometimes it's really hard to stop. We think we shouldn't or we can't. But it is so important to rest, to just allow our bodies to stop. Maybe even get horizontal for 10 minutes. You don't even have to fall asleep. Or if you want to sit and stretch maybe, and find all those places you're carrying tension. Maybe it's your lower back, maybe it's your head or your jaw or your chest, your hands. And let's all just imagine our whole body loosening, everything relaxing. Nothing is tight anymore. And if that means you have a bad posture for a minute, like you just want to curl your back, for me, my lower back gets a little tense after a day with the kids, so sometimes it's okay to have a little bad posture if it means you're stretching and letting air flow through your lungs, and just take that minute to acknowledge what your body is feeling, where it hurts, what feels good, what doesn't, what needs tending to. I think the more that we tune into our bodies, sometimes we need to check out of our minds for a minute and just ask ourselves how our bodies are doing. Sometimes my hammies need a good stretch, so if I'm doing meditation, sometimes yoga is great to do, just a very light yoga or stretching. Keep your body a little busy and keep it from getting stiff. So now I'm going to bring us back to my vision, now that we are relaxing. Let's take a deep breath before we dive in. And so what I did is I created a place in my mind where I could go when things get really loud and crazy. And it's my own little escape in my mind. And for me, the more detail, the better. So I imagined I had like all this paparazzi around me. And it was just, I felt like I was gonna explode because all these photographers were actually, they were negative emotions telling me that I can't do it, or I need quiet, I need this, I can't do that. And then all of a sudden, just when I feel like I was about to fall apart, I saw someone in a faraway corner at a cafe table set for 2. One chair was empty and one was taken. Now for me, I imagined Jesus sitting in that chair. But you can imagine whoever you want, whoever brings you comfort, whoever exhibits that peace for you. Find that person, whether it's a parent, a friend, a dog, a celebrity, someone you respect. Or maybe they don't have a face. Maybe you just see the word peace seated down. Whatever works for you, pick a person, pick a thing. And I just saw Jesus for me. I saw him waiting so patiently, even though all these negative emotions were trying to get my attention. He just sat there waiting with a little smile on his face, and it was as if he knew I would eventually find him, eventually break through the crowd. So I found a little hole through these paparazzi, and I squeezed through, and I started walking over to him, and instantly I could breathe. Suddenly I didn't hear the cameras flashing, I didn't hear those negative thoughts. I heard birds singing and the clink of a coffee cup touching a saucer after he put it down. He saw me walk over and he dabbed at his mouth after eating a tomato mozzarella sandwich. Ah, that sounds so good. And he pointed to the chair and he said, "Take a seat. I've been waiting for you." But not in a way that was a guilt trip, just a way that said, "You're welcome here." And I could breathe. No thoughts were going through my mind other than total peace. And what that peace looks like is not an absence of problems, but the presence of something bigger. It's almost like you have this knowledge that this moment will pass. It won't always be hard. It won't always be loud. One day the birds will sing again. So I transported there rather than staying in this place of noise. I transported myself there. And I stayed there. And every time someone tried to come over with a camera, every time a negative thought tried to come into my mind, it was like I hired a security guard and he just threw them out. And the only thought I had was, I am at peace. And I sat there in my chair and I was able to breathe again. And I was able to close my eyes and feel the warmth of the sun on my face. And then once I achieved that peace, Jesus, or whoever you're sitting with, then asks me, "You know what? Let's welcome those thoughts back. Let's address them, because we can't hide forever here at this table." That security guard is gonna need a nap soon. The only way they're ever gonna leave is if you talk to them. You address them, and you say, "Okay, I see you. I see what you need from me." Whether it's thoughts of inadequacy, or you're stressed because of a to-do list, or you're stressed because of the world, and your anxiety is heightened because of everything that's going on, or maybe there's so much hate, or you're in an argument. Whatever it is, I think it's important to find that place of peace so that you can then properly address those feelings peacefully. And you say, "Okay, you are a part of me feeling. I see that. And now, instead of ignoring you, because that doesn't ever really work, at least not for long, I'm going to let you sit at my table. I'm going to recognize you and see that you're here, but I'm only going to respond to you in love. I'm going to let you be here, but you do not get to decide what I order. You don't get to decide what I say. And I'm just going to be in my place of peace. And then one day, After you recognize your feelings, they no longer really have a power over you. When they see you're not afraid of them anymore, they get what they need and then they leave your table of peace. And you always know they're there, but at least now you know how to deal with them. So that way when they show back up, you know that you have this table with this person that you feel safe with. Or wherever your vision is, maybe it's a beach or a meadow. Anything that works for you in your heart. And for me, since I'm a visual person, I write this down. I write out my place and I detail it as if I was a designer actually creating it for someone else. Tell me what color the walls are. What plants are nearby? Is it jasmine that you smell? Is it a bird singing next to you? If so, what kind? Maybe there's a soft jazz playing in the background, or whatever makes you feel at peace. But detail it and write this place out. Imagine it and make it real. That way it's all the more easier to access, all the more easier to focus on. That way, instead of focusing on your anxiety, your anger, your depression, you can focus on what color the curtains are at your place of peace. What the rug feels like beneath you, or maybe cold Mexican tile, or old cobblestone brick. Detail it. And that's your place. And that is all yours, and you can give it to people, but remember that this place will always be here. Sometimes, yes, you do have to actually leave your circumstances to go find it, but when that's not an option, peace can be found right there within you. We just gotta focus on it. And then once we attain it, we can address all of those annoying paparazzi feelings that we have that are trying to absorb all of our attention. And then eventually, after enough practice of that, we can then also live at peace with those weaknesses or those flaws or those things that are so hard to get past. We don't necessarily have to erase them or run away from them. I think it's the opposite. I'm taking deep breaths now, and I'm completely okay with those things that I used to not be okay with, because I know they're there. And I'm gonna have peace. Maybe not in spite of them, but because of the fact that I'm gonna be okay. That's a great thing to say. Much better than I'm fine. We all know what that means. Things might not always be awesome, but we will be okay. So I hope this helps, because it helped me. It really helped. I was able to successfully do this the other day. And it sounds hard, and sometimes it is, so go easy on yourself, and if you can't get it the first time, be gentle and patient and give grace to yourself, because even though I did accomplish this